Other candidates have now declared. Why do you think you are the right person for this job?
Well, it's interesting because when you sort of people were speaking to me about standing, and I'm really, what I think is really important about my campaign is that probably exclusively the support I have is from stewards. The biggest support I have is from stewards in workplaces, and every day of my life, really, I have worked with stewards in workplaces. So I really feel that I get a feel for what is missing. We run a really good leverage campaign, we win against blacklisting, or we win on something really critical, and then you're like, well, why can't we do this across the board? Why can't this be done in every single situation where a steward is sacked or a company tries to pull away from a core agreement? And I was thinking, actually, when was the first time I got involved in the collective? When did I first get involved in the collective? And I represented my first worker at 19, and I led my first walkout, funnily enough, at 17. So I led the walkout before I did the first representation. And I came out of an industry that was very, very unorganised. At that time, it was very unorganised within unions as well. So I just feel that the experience that I have had in terms of pushing back employers, in terms of defending reps, in terms of winning core issues, whether they be sectoral, I do probably most of the sectoral bargaining within the union, driving agreements through multiple employers at the same time. Obviously, there is the piece of leverage, which I think needs to be developed and pushed. But there's also, I think, important things to say about what was already happening before COVID. And I think whoever's standing needs to have their finger on the pulse, not of just what's happening right now, because we have to deal with that and we have to put resource in, but what are the other things coming down the track? And things like automation, which is going to be huge. This is not going to let up. Prior to COVID, companies were escalating what they were doing on automation. We know in the passenger sector, for example, driverless buses, that will come at some point. What is the deal for workers? What is going to happen when that starts to come down the track? We can't forget that. You've also got this hidden piece that is just sort of filtering underneath the edges, where the retail price index, which we know we use as a sort of negotiating ballpark, obviously ability to pay, what's the RPI within at that present time. We know that will no longer be tracked after a certain time. 2021 was first muted, now it looks like it's 2022. So these other things that are going on that is going to suppress pay, that is going to push workers' terms and conditions down in other areas also. Whilst we have to deal with the COVID crisis and what's happening, we also have to have a handle on what is coming down the track that has never gone away, and how do we deal with those things? And I think the experience that I've had on dealing with hostile employers, but also having to push back on a number of issues, whether that be in relation to in the health service or whether it be in relation to the construction industry, I think that stands me in good stead to lead the union and to hopefully spread that with the stewards into a number of different areas.